Peace.
Oh, hello, Dick and Patsy. Hello, Bud. Hello, everybody at the American Music Show in Atlanta. This is Tammy Faye. You know, I just had to take a few moments out of the show tonight to come to you with a special emergency message, you know, because I don't have a network and a satellite and a TV show like I used to have before we were busted by the police. So now I just have to go on wherever I can and let the people, let the partners hear from me just wherever I can get the word out. You know, Tammy Sue was on Oprah last week, and the next thing I'm going on the Home Shopping Club. You can see me on there, and I'm going on Top Tracks, you know, that truck and tractor pull and car crush and show that comes on Channel 69, and I'm going on Mid-Atlantic World Championship Wrestling with my co-host, Mr. Steroid, and we're going to use all of those opportunities to get the word out about what the federal government did to Jim and Tammy, you know, and I sent out a special holiday message to all the partners, you know, and I mailed it out to them, but I know I don't have everyone's address, and I know that a lot of you maybe didn't hear it, so I wanted to read it to you tonight, and we're just going to read it to you, you know, just like we sent this letter out to all the partners, you know. You can see the official letterhead right there of the New Covenant Church with Jim Baker, the pastor. But here's our holiday message, and we just thank you for standing with Jim and Tammy. Dear New Covenant partners, it was Christmas Day. The time was about 3:30 p.m. and the place was the prison cafeteria. I looked across the table at my precious husband of 28 years. On one side of him sat Tammy Sue, her husband, and baby James. On the other side of him sat Jamie Charles, our 14-year-old son, and Jim's sister Donna was sitting next to me. God made it possible for us to all be together again. Our raw gratefulness was almost too sad to even look upon. This was our fourth day together and our last of this trip. Jim still had the look of disbelief on his face, as if he wasn't sure if this was a dream. He just kept saying, I can't believe you're here. I don't want this to end. The food was delicious, but I could hardly eat. I noticed that Jamie and Tammy Sue were having the same trouble. Just about the time I heard a voice say, all right, visitors. Visitors to the right, time's up, inmates to the left. My nerves tensed, my heart lurched, and all of a sudden I couldn't swallow. Our 4 days were over and it was almost time to say goodbye. We all stood up, brave smiles on our faces, and we put on our heavy winter coats. We bundled little 10-month-old baby James into a snowsuit. My husband put his arms around me, and for a few seconds I felt secure again next to the man I love so much. We had to be careful not to hug too long. The guards were watching. I turned around and Jamie was sobbing as if his heart was going to break. He put his arms around his daddy and he cried and he cried. Loud, heart-wrenching sobs. Daddy, daddy, oh daddy. I thought my heart would break. I wanted to die, to end this terrible suffering on Christmas. It was then that I noticed our family wasn't the only one hurting this Christmas Day in 1989. Similar scenes were taking place all across the crowded room. The other wives always tell me, Tammy, wait until you get outside to cry. Today I couldn't wait. Tammy Sue looked back. Her daddy waved from the window. I heard fresh sobs. I said, Sissy, don't ever look back. And we walked out to the door that led us away from Jim. It was 0 degrees and snowing hard. We had to walk the length of a couple of buildings to get to the place. And I said, Tammy Sue, button up your coat. She said, Mom, I'm not cold. We were all hurting too bad to even feel the chilly cold. My mind wandered back to the night before, Christmas Eve. But I'll tell you about that when I come back, because our time's almost up. You know, we have to share the satellite now with all the other networks, and we'll see you again in just a little bit, okay? And we love you. Don't give up. You're on the brink of a miracle.
So that was Tammy Faye busting in on us, was it? Hey, kids.
Seemed to be.
Hey, kids.
It certainly looked and sounded like Tammy Faye.
Well, you know, people think of this as just a local show, but I think the fact that Tammy comes on to bring her messages and that King Michael of Romania is coming on later on tonight to be
King
on
Mike.
our show.
Really? I didn't know that.
Shows
That's
that this
really
is really an
exciting.
international program.
Well, it is, and it well, you know, with satellite hookups, you can do anything these days.
So I wanted to share some of this news from Iceland.
Share?
Did you get your news from Iceland?
No, not
I
yet.
don't know. My subscription
Our news
ran
from
out.
Iceland just came in this week.
I haven't gotten mine yet.
Because, you know, coming up, it's going to be Mardi Gras, isn't it?
Do they celebrate Mardi Gras in Iceland?
They celebrate in a different way.
How do they celebrate it?
Well, I wanted Duffy to hold up this picture, and I was going to share that
okay.
with our viewers as a part of our
be-
sharing
Well,
experience.
Duffy, do you have anything to say while Dick is cutting out the picture? Because we don't want dead air. As everyone knows on television, dead air is a very bad thing to have.
You
We
have
have
to be
it.
very careful cutting out pictures from the newspaper.
Attention, all dancers.
And
That's the
What does that say
picture.
there?
I hope Dick didn't want any. I hope there weren't any coupons on the other page.
Don't try this at home.
this is
Stores
called
aren't around here,
Shrove-Tide
Potsy.
buns and fancy dress balls.
Shrove-Tide buns.
The beginning of Lent,
Bun
today
day.
more honored in the breach than the observance, is heralded in Iceland by 3 days of traditional Shrove-Tide treats and celebrations. Bun Day, Bursting Day, and finally
Bun
Ash
Day, I like
Wednesday.
Get a close-up
On Bun Day, children rise early to smack their parents with specially decorated bun wands. The beating is generally more or less painless. The children are rewarded for this by being allowed to eat delicious creamy buns for breakfast.
Yeah,
And
I
probably several more during the day.
have a lot of questions about this. Now, what do they mean by more or less painful?
Then on evening
Then
of
what?
Shrove Tuesday.
Depends on how
Now
big
that's
your bun
Shrove-
wand is, I
Which,
think.
which and do they get more buns if it was more painful or less painful? They
don't
don't
know.
explain that if what the actual goal is.
Now on the evening of Shrove Tuesday, which is
Uh-huh.
Mardi Gras here,
It's Fat
every
Tuesday.
Icelandic family sits down to a time-honored feast of salt meat and split-pea soup.
Is that salt ham meat or salt meat? Like
I
salted
can't tell.
meat.
There's a fold here. Salt meat. I think it's one
Probably
salt
salted.
meat. A menu which originates in olden times when meat was preserved in salt through the
Oh,
winter
yes.
and fresh vegetables unheard of. The tradition of eating hearty is reflected in the name Bursting Day, although the next 40 days are unlikely to mean much fasting or deprivation to
Eat till you
today's
burst.
Icelanders.
Fresh vegetables were unheard of
In Iceland,
They didn't know
because
about
in
'em.
Iceland it's winter all winter long, and
It's
you
winter.
can't grow
They weren't
vegetables.
unheard of. They just didn't have
Shrove-Tide
them
reaches
there.
its high point on Ash Wednesday. Now that's the day after Mardi Gras, when a carnival atmosphere reigns. Children have a day off from school, and the streets fill with mask-painted and fantastically costumed kids on their way to fancy dress parties. Ash Wednesday would not be the same without pranks and tricks. Youngsters steal up on adults to deftly hang little ash bags on their clothes.
Ash
Strictly
bags?
speaking, should contain a little ash or a distant reference to the ashes of atonement used to mark the forehead of worshippers at Catholic Mass on Ash Wednesday. A robust old Ash Wednesday game, traditional in Akrukreyi, the capital of the north, is batting the cat from the barrel. In the 19th century, a dead cat was suspended inside a barrel, and youngsters took turns to try to hit the barrel hard enough for the cat to drop down.
It's horrible.
That's sport.
The winner was crowned Cat
I saw that on
King.
ESPN the other night.
Today, the barrel bashing continues, but fortunately, in our more squeamish times, a substitute cat is used.
So they didn't use a dead cat anymore, they used
More of a stunt cat.
I think they mean a replica of a cat.
Probably like a
Well,
pinata.
Substitute cat.
They put a
didn't really
pinata
sound
in
like
a barrel.
Non-live cat.
And that's the way that the children dress up. It's like, so Duffy's pretty much dressed like that today, but it's not Shrove Tuesday yet. It's not Ash Wednesday.
I'm dressed for reruns.
Reruns. So what do we have to look at tonight? Don't we have an interview? Don't you have an interview tonight, Duffy? Are you ready with
Aunt
your...
Nancy.
Are you ready?
Yeah, we really don't have much time. I mean, we've got so many
See,
guests.
we were
We've got-
interrupted by Tammy Faye at the beginning. I don't know if y'all knew that or not.
So
Our
the show's
signal
half
was
over,
delayed.
right? It's
But we
almost
wanted to
time
show
go.
everybody the issue of interview that's coming, because that's why we're featuring the Lapellis de Butte, because there is Taboo, along with Trade.
And trade.
Trade, who got his start here on our show, and Taboo, who designed
Lots of pictures of trade in this interview.
the record cover for Larry T. and Lapellis de Butte's record. So they're in interview this month.
Way back into time.
That's exciting. That's very exciting.
I think
So,
so.
what else do we have on the show?
Well, I guess we better get on
Let's
so we can
get on
find out.
with it. Let's talk. let
You
me
need
talk
to do
that
your
Nancy.
interview with Aunt Nancy.
There's so much to do. I hope we have time for everything. Don't you?
Ah, I hope so.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Duffy Odom here with an exclusive interview with our favorite aunt, Aunt Nancy. And here she is. Hi, Aunt Nancy.
Do you still mow your grass?
What?
You still mow your grass?
Yeah, I mow the grass, and I mow the grass of all the neighbors. And I make lots of money. That's how I can afford to catch the bus here every week. And I'd like to come over and mow your grass sometime. Would that be all right?
Yeah, he has a nice house too.
Good.
Has an upstairs and a downstairs.
Uh-huh. Does he have a basement?
When Brian and Nancy were there, they were staying in her house with her. And
Yeah.
then she stayed with Patricia and Scott.
Well, she
in
gets
their
around.
house for a while.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know where she's staying now. She called me not too long ago.
Where was she staying
from
then?
Vivian's in,
Vivian's, okay.
you know, when
Yeah.
she comes there, she always calls.
Miss Vivian's always a nice place to stay when you're in
When it's hunchback.
Yeah.
And she brought something up about his back one time. I said, well, was he born like that? She said, no. So when he was a little boy, he hurt his back real bad, and they didn't know how to, the doctor on it. And
Yeah.
like that.
Well, I hope they're all feeling much better. I know your prayers are for them and for all of their families and for all of us here at the show and to Dick and all of his friends.
Thankful too.
Uh-huh.
Well, now let me tell you first that the set as it is was designed by Lady Claire, and we have been quite proud of it.
Lady Claire likes red, though, and
I
racing
don't
flags.
believe I know the name.
Well, she's a local celebrity.
I see. Where did she go to school?
I'm not sure. I think she studied all over.
South Georgia. Well, you know, I don't believe I've ever been south of Riches except to go to the airport.
Well, it does have kind of that South Georgia look, I think. She did capture
Is this
it
what
well.
South Georgia looks like?
Pretty
red.
much.
And
Pretty
racing
much.
flags.
That's the Lady Bunny there.
Well, I mean,
Another
they're
lady. Now, what
touches
is
of
this?
New
All these
York.
ladies? I don't understand.
It's just one of those titles of honor, kind of.
You
Oh,
find
I
out more about it if you watch
Excuse
the show
me.
more often.
Well, you know, I do plan to do that. It is a lovely show, and I have enjoyed every moment of every show that I've watched. And I did see the entire episode, you know, waiting for Genevieve, and then I did see 5 minutes or so of the next one, and I believe I've missed a few in between. But well, you know, as you said, the set is heavily decorated.
Yeah.
Potsy.
Yeah.
May I call you Potsy? I hope you don't.
Yes, please do.
Please do call me Martha.
I will, Martha. Thank you.
And my ideas for you, my suggestions would run more in the direction of simplification than in, you know, doing more. I would say, you know,
So you could give us some tips that would involve
Less
things we
red. It
already
sounds like
have
she's
rather
saying
than
less
going out
red.
and buying new. That's
Well,
what I'm interested
oh,
in is using the things we
absolutely,
have here.
absolutely. I would say that you could get by with a fraction of what you have here. You know, I mean, you might have to spend a little on paint or paper, but I really wouldn't suggest anything too complicated or too, you know, busy for such a fine home. It is a lovely home, and the set is just wonderful. I must tell you, but, you know, I would start out by just getting rid of all this bric-a-brac. And, you know, I know you might not want to get a new sofa. That would be quite an outlay, but maybe a coverlet, you know.
Just a throw.
A
Maybe.
throw, yes. Or, you know, you could have something made up, kind of a slip cover. I think on TV, I don't think people notice the difference if it's really good upholstery or not.
When they gave out lips like honey, that shame the stars that shine, my darling. You were the first in line.
That betrays these stories as the truth. Tammy Sue has never even talked to Playboy magazine. Never even talked to Playboy magazine. Nor have I called Tammy Sue begging her not to do such a thing as they have stated.